Why am I trying to figure out the cave story? Because the cave story is the beginning, and often when you talk about the beginning, you have to start before the pertinent information to make sense of the why. Like what it's from, and why sacrifice the children. Hello, Frumly and Frumians. I'm the Mindtikian, and welcome back to another From Dissection video. Understanding these symbols help us understand the story and lore of From. First, we know the show is all about the mythologies, but it still has a base mythology and lore. We have seen it incorporate other mythologies like Norse, Japanese folklore, and I will be revealing 2 more mythologies, so stay tuned. Based on what the show has done and what the creators have said in their email interview, it is safe to say that From has a mythological convergence. What this means is that there is an overlap and blending of mythological themes, characters, and motifs. Stay with me and remember this because it explains a lot. Panel 1. The Arrival. There are 3 people in the boats. These weird tree symbols are runes, and I've explained them in previous videos that you can see here, and I'll link to it in the description below. Starting from the top left, we have the Catalyst rune, the power to act, which means raw power, overcoming obstacles and manifestation. So they left their homeland in search of spiritual enlightenment as well as finding new land. The rest of this story supports this, so let's lock in. They travel down the river in their boats and they see trees everywhere. But they also recognize these other trees, these trees that they believe to be intelligent, to be more than regular. And so this is how they determine that they're getting close to their destination. Then they discovered the tree, which was the identifier that they had found their location. How did they know? Knows that before they reached this huge ash tree, this huge intelligent tree, they knew the trees in the forest that they were in. Then they approached the tree of enlightenment, which was the very same symbol as all the other trees in white. The only difference was the size. This large black intelligent tree was something that they were unfamiliar with, but also it was recognizable. Panel 2, we have the sacrifice. We have 10 people below the circle, and if you count from the previous panel, that's 2 additional people from the original that arrived, which I believe to be Tabitha and Jade. Tabitha and Jade had to have grown up in From. Those stones that she was hiding behind was not too far away from the settlement that was discovered in season 3, episode 1 by Kenny and Jim. Now there are 7 sacrificial stones below the symbol and 2 people above the symbol, who I once again have to reiterate that I believe is Tabitha and Jade, because they did not want to sacrifice their child. But first off, why would anyone sacrifice their children? What were they thinking? Why would they have to sacrifice their child? What were the people doing that called for them to sacrifice their children? Since we know this show has a mythological convergence, in mythology there is a group of followers that sacrifice their children to a god. This also predates Norse mythology, which is also included in the show. So I went down that rabbit hole. Tanit is the Phoenician goddess I believe these people worship. She is represented by the crescent moon and the Venus symbol. Many in mythology worships her by varying names, but she always represents the same thing. Tanit is the goddess of fertility, motherhood, and the moon, and was the chief goddess of Carthage. Human sacrifice was a key part of her worship, and a sanctuary for child sacrifice was discovered west of Carthage. Now many people worshipped her as their goddess, but it was only a small cult of followers that actually practiced regular child sacrifice, leading me to believe that the original 8 people were escaping pursuers of the Punic Wars. These wars were between Rome and Carthage. Millions died in the Mediterranean because of these wars, and Rome spread and destroyed the people and history of Carthage. Realizing this fact, the Catalyst rune, the power to act, meant that these people left their home in order to survive, in order to live. We can also infer that once they created their settlement, they searched and found the caves, and the caves had a hole for a skylight which they used for the sacrifice when the moonlight fell upon the children, which they took as Tanit looking down to witness their devotion to her still. This is just a theory of mine, But the children's hopes created the symbol, and that stopped or partially blocked the blessings of Tanit's moonlight, and the trees that overgrew also became their prison, trapping everyone that did not love them there and from. Moving on to this large figure, it is actually the embodiment of a promise to those that have sacrificed their children. This figure is an upside down Hamsa, which signifies protection against evil forces, particularly the evil eye, and is generally interpreted as a symbol of blessing, good luck, and divine safeguarding across various cultures. A Hamsa with fingers pointing towards the ground generally signifies a gesture of giving or bestowing blessings, often associated with abundance, fertility, and receiving positive energy. Basically, it means from the heavens unto us or unto me. Now, the Hamsa evolved from the symbol of Tanit, which was of a woman with her hands up. Over time, the symbol turned into just a hand. This Hamsa is also known as the Hand of Fatima in Islamic culture and often associated with fertility, and is believed to bring good fortune, protection, and abundance, with some interpretations linking the hand symbolism to the feminine power and potential for creation. When worn facing downwards, it is particularly considered to promote fertility and manifestation of desires. Do you see now how the past is influencing the present and the future? Performing a background check on Fatima, I found that she is of Iranian Persian descent. So this large symbol is the last of the followers of Tanit, trying to remind her of their devotion to her so that she could save them and grant them eternal life. Moving on, we have a trapezoid, birds, and Taphthan jade. I believe this is a panel once the reincarnation cycle has started. The unkindness of ravens is familiar and new because they have not seen a flock since they saw the tree in the road. To the right is what I believe is Colony House and the forest around it, because those are intelligent trees, and that faraway tree is so close to Colony House in the forest. It reminds me of the Colony House massacre where Julie went through a faraway tree and ended up in the cellar, not too far away from Colony House. Below Colony House, we have 17 people around a garden of what looks like rotten food. Could this be current? These people are red though. Are they alive? Are they the original people plus the 7 sacrifices? Or are they the Draugrs, and if so, their numbers exploded? We have 2 people together at the top that I believe is Taphthan jade. Then we have an infinity symbol surrounded by lines to show importance and urgency. The infinity symbol looks like a snake almost eating itself, possibly the cycle of life, death, and rebirth or creation. The snake is a symbol in many mythologies representing healing, transformation, and fertility. Snakes in Norse mythology have multiple meanings. Loki is sometimes symbolized by 2 snakes encircling each other in an S shape like the one we see here. Snakes can symbolize primal danger, cycles of destruction, and rebirth. Snakes can also embody forces that could disrupt or shape the world's fate. For instance, Nidhogg is considered a malevolent serpent-like dragon who lives beneath Yggdrasil and feeds on one of the roots, which is seen as a threat to the stability of the world, potentially bringing the cosmos into chaos. Jormungandr is the world serpent who is one of the children of Loki and Angrboda. Odin threw Jormungandr into the sea, where it grew to encircle the world. Jormungandr's biting of its own tail is a recurring theme in Norse mythology and in other mythologies. Now, is Nidhogg the serpent on the tapestry in Fatima and Ellis's room? Now, I haven't been able to figure out what the line through the infinity symbol means, so I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. At the very bottom, we have 3 symbols that swirl in the center of each, and each symbol is surrounded by radiating lines as if these items are shining or to show their importance. I believe these 3 objects to be whirlpools, placed at the lower right representing the end of the story and the end of Frumland's hold. I believe this is supported by the pic of whirlpools that was beautifully shown and hidden with the magic of editing in Season 1, Episode 8, while Miranda was looking through the pictures Victor gave to Julie. Though the presence of whirlpools usually means a drainage of fluids, then looking at the pictures on the table, there is evidence of a flood, with what looks like Boyd and the man in yellow on the roof. Returning to panel 1, We can now infer that the things in red are warnings. The lighthouse serves as a warning to mariners of dangerous shallows and perilous rocky coasts, and they help guide vessels safely into and out of harbors. Could this be how Boyd navigates the whirlpools to exit from? We already know that his dream was to have a boat, which means he may know how to sail. I've always wondered why a lighthouse was on the side of a rocky cliff anyway, and why it was on panel 1. Could receding waters be how the original 8 got trapped in from? Also, just above the large bind rune, we have 3 red crescents with lines, meaning 1.5 months. Below the large bind rune, we have 2 illuminated crescent moons, symbolizing a month-long cycle. We also have the Ansus and Laguz runes inverted. Inverted, it signifies potential challenges in communication and intuition. The reverse Ansus rune indicates difficulties in expressing oneself clearly, leading to feelings of isolation and misunderstanding. Furthermore, it can suggest misinterpreting messages both from others and from within oneself. Meanwhile, the reverse Laguz rune symbolizes a blockage in the flow of intuition and inner guidance, leaving one feeling disconnected from their inner wisdom and struggling to trust their instincts. Now, we have a better understanding of who these people are, why they did what they did. So these are just a few theories that I've come up with. The forest is alive, feeding on hope. The children had to pour hope into it for it to grow. And so, because they sacrificed their hope as the people were sacrificing them onto Tanit, Tanit is bestowing everlasting life unto the people that sacrificed the children. And the forest is consistently taking hope, which is why I believe we have intelligent trees, which is why also Victor was measuring the distance of the forest from the houses, because he said they were getting closer. But yeah, this is what I think. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I would love for you guys to start a discussion. Tell me what you think about what I've said. If you got anything that you think that I've missed, I'm here for it. I love to read the comments and to theorize about what's going on and from. We have a year to wait, and there's nothing but possibilities. So until next time, I am Mindtikian, and I'm out.